Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join Certified Facilitator and Coach Betsy McLoughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Imperfect Brilliance. We're here for another, I'm sure, perfectly imperfect, brilliant conversation. Today, I have a wonderful guest joining me from Italy, and his name is Danilo. And Danilo, you know, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, so can you tell everybody how to pronounce it, please?
Yeah, thank you, Betsy. So it's Danilo da Re.
Da Re. Okay, I probably would have messed that up. So, first of all, a little bit of information on Danilo. I do have the pleasure of working with him on a fairly regular basis, so I know he is fun and very smart and creative. And what we're going to be talking about today is actually incorporates quite a bit of this. So he's definitely a seeker. He is a creator of ease and possibilities. And he's also an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. And that is how I met Danilo, through Access Consciousness. And we do work on a couple of different areas of the company together, so we have a lot of fun in those areas. And he, as I said, he lives in Italy, and he's had some really, really interesting experiences that I'm aware of, and I'm sure way more. And today's conversation is going to be about English and language and more. And he's also a translator. So he translates a lot of classes and different things from English into Italian, and maybe he does it the other way as well, I'm not sure. And so we're going to be talking about where you might be perceiving limitations with language, and then who knows where we'll go. So is there anything that you would like to add to what I have already introduced people about with you, Danilo?
I would like to start with this one about languages. So there is something that I choose in the past when I was a student, and I started to learn French since I was really, really young. And to me, it was a lot of fun. Also during the summertime, have people of the family living in France, actually, and in France. So I used to improve my French speaking, and a lot during the summer. And when I was ready for the college, I had behind me a lot of years of French, and it was the time for me to open to English, because was English missing. And so in the high school, I chose English, but for some reason, I created to keep with French, because they need to create a class with a French teacher in the high school, and they checked the students that already did French. So I was I was choose to go ahead with French, and to me was okay. That's interesting. Yeah, and so after I studied something at the university, and I went to Vancouver after the university to study, just to study English for 4 months. And
Okay.
I used to take classes in the morning and the afternoon and enjoying the city and the people because I was studying in an international school. So it was this kind of thing, but English has not really a language I was comfortable in for me. And after I met Access, after a few years, I met Access, and there is this really amazing thing that I heard from Gary Douglas, that is the founder of Access. He said that the first language is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this thing going on. I was thinking sometimes, yeah, the first language is energy. So what? So after a few years, I remember was winter was like this season in Italy. Today we had the first snow outside, and it's amazing to me. And it was December, and I remember I said to myself, yeah, the first language is energy. So I can follow all the facilitators, so I can listen all the kind of classes because the first language is energy, it's not English or whatever. And I started to change something. And after 3 years, uh, I applied as translator for Italy. And now I'm translating really a lot. And this is totally incredible to me when I think about that, because there is something different that is available just when I choose to have that possibility. Also, if
Mm-hmm.
I never studied English in my past, you can create everything.
That's really amazing. So, and how you actually created this, and with, I do talk to a lot of people. I meet a lot of amazing people where English is not their first language. And what I find fascinating is that you can have conversations with people when you don't speak the same language, because we are so much more than the way we communicate is so much more than the words that come out of our mouths. There's so much, we're all aware of energies and attitudes and all of those things that are all combined to how we communicate with each other. And sometimes people will say to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak very good English." And I am completely understanding what they say. And to me, it's like, that's kind of almost like an automatic reflex that somebody will say before they even start talking. And it's like, for me, there's no need to say that, because even if I didn't understand the words, you understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, Betsy. I when I was at the college, a lot of friends of mine, they were talking English very well. They were speaking English very very well. They used to travel to London or whatever, and they
Uh-huh.
knew English. And so to me, the
Uh-huh.
first thing a few years ago when I was fascinated about the languages was, yeah, I don't need to be perfect. I mean, communication is not about being perfect. It is about being you. And of course, I will not say in a proper English words everything. Yeah, but that is not my mother language. So it's
Mhm.
kind of okay to me. I allowed myself to not be perfect on that.
Mm. That's such a great thing to bring into the conversation, because that's one of the things I wonder about. as a translator, your job is to translate the words that the person is saying, and then you're saying, okay, you don't have to be perfect. So how do you kind of merge those two things together?
Yeah, that's funny, and something that I find out about myself just during the last year since I become an official translator for Access, and also let me add that I'm pretty sure that doing translations for other company or other speakers is not the same, because I tried. I tried, and so during the last 3 months, I translated something like 8 big classes of Access, and big classes. I mean classes with Mr. Douglas, Dr. Dane here, Simone Milazas, or Brandon Worth. All of them I translated during since September. And the funny thing is that sometimes when I'm translating, there isn't any effort in my work. I just acknowledge that I'm moving my mouth and there is some sound coming out. and the thing is that sometimes there are questions from people during the classes, or maybe communication in between during the breaks or whatever. And there is when I have more effort to translate, because the energy is less. Well, the thing that we talked about, energy is the first language, and is a language available for everybody, and is a language to train yourself to speak. And sometimes during the class, kind of the flow of ease, because the speaker is using energy during the class, is stopping suddenly because there is a question. And so there is more mind involved in myself, because I need to understand and translate. Otherwise, the energy is so clear with the speakers like Mr. Gary Douglas, Dr. Dane here, Brandon Watt, and Simone Milazas, and the energy is so clear, and the words, the sound of the words is just like an helper for the translation.
Wow, that's really interesting. So I always wondered about that. So you're kind of in the rhythm and the flow of really tuning into each individual instructor, facilitator, if you will, and you're really going with the flow, and it's, you're not having to think about it as much as when a participant kind of stops the flow and asks their question. And that's really interesting. So how do you go back and forth between kind of those two different things?
I love that question. Thank you, Betsy. Normally, I acknowledge that I'm not speaking. So I acknowledge that something is broken on the flow, is not flowing as before. So I said, okay, think, what they are saying. And there is just a switch, because it's like you are drinking water, and suddenly somebody stopped the flow of the water, and you acknowledge that you have to turn yourself somewhere else if you want to keep drinking. With the translation, it's the same for me. And so it's kind of, there is no any more energy. Mind, help, please. And let me add something. I also used to be one of the participants asking questions also from the mind a lot. That means that was just something that I was thinking and maybe bringing with myself for days before asking, or just having that in my mind and trying to make the perfect question, until I said to myself, yeah, maybe it's not so fun.
I'm laughing because I think there's a lot of people, who do have that kind of angst when they're like, okay, I have a question to ask. I want to ask this question. And then they're going in their head of like the best way to say it, how to form it, how will I sound, getting nervous for asking the question to begin with, and all of those things. So, and as a translator, how tapped in are you to all of that and more?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really something. And do you ever find like that you have to think that you're speaking in Italian and not slip into English, or vice versa?
Yeah, sometimes there are words that don't have the same translation of energy into Italian. So sometimes energy of English is different, but there are words that you can use also in Italian. So it is not a big deal,
Okay. And then what do you do? And I know we're coming up on the first break here, but what do you do when I will save this question until after the break, so stay tuned for more interesting information on language.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Are you looking to change anything in your life, to have an even greater appreciation of everything around you? Would you enjoy having a life of more joy and greater abundance, and explore what is possible for you? My name is Betsy McLoughlin, and I invite you to explore simple and pragmatic tools that I share on my radio show, Imperfect, Brilliance. I know firsthand that you can change anything. We explore tools and questions with amazing guests, offering all kinds of conversations on living your best life. I invite you to listen in Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern to Imperfect Brilliance. Consider a coaching call with me, and let's explore what you would like your life to be like. Visit my website at www.creatingyumminess.com, and you're invited to call in to Imperfect Brilliance with your questions, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to connecting.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Imperfect Brilliance. My guest today, Danilo, we're having a great conversation about language and energy and communication, and how do you communicate with people where, even when you speak the same language, there's a lot of times where you feel like you're not being heard or you're having difficulty communicating. And I would love for you to talk a little bit on that, Danilo.
I really love your question, Betsy. Yeah. I was thinking during the break that I had a few girlfriends, and generally my relationships are kind of long-term relationships. I mean, years of relationship, and all the girlfriends, and now I'm counting 3 of them. I used to talk with them more than just Italian. So I used to talk French and English too sometimes. And because to me is clear that also a language is bringing an energy, not just a word. So speaking French, you have that kind of energy and romance and intimacy. And since I love French, to me it was kind of really a second language beside Italian. And Italian I know is a Turkish language for all my friends that are not from Italy, and they love the sound of Italian. And I love too, and I love the words. I love to I love to be a seeker between words. So sometimes, to me, I can pick up maybe a strange English word, and with strange I mean not so popular, because I love playing with that. And when I start to acknowledge that behind each word there is an energy, the playfulness grows a lot. So I was more kind of on my field and playing more with the languages. So sometimes we have conversation in English, sometimes we have French conversation at home. And I'm learning Spanish actually, because everybody here, they are speaking Spanish, and I'm not so good yet. So, the thing to me is that there is some playfulness in communication, and languages can contribute to the playfulness.
So in other words, maybe he shouldn't be so serious about it all?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we talked already about being perfect, So I'm willing to be stupid, totally stupid, and happy.
That is a great quote. I'm willing to be stupid and totally happy. That's awesome. And so the willingness to actually be stupid, what does that open up for you?
Yeah, you don't have to prove anything to nobody. And at first place, you don't have to prove anything to yourself. Yeah, that's the big part, because we used to be so judgmental with ourselves. And if you change your point of view and you start to say, yeah, I'm stupid, you have a lot of space in front of you, because you are not using this to think of stupidity has less, you are just seeing that there is so much more available that is available, and there is a choice between what is available and you as you are now.
Wow, that's really cool. Huh.
And yeah, you asked to me about communication when you have the same language. So, for example, in your relationship or with your family, and I remember that I tried to use a lot of techniques before knowing the tool of Access. And also there is something that I keep using, like if I want to talk to somebody, maybe let's make the usual example with my girlfriend, with my partner. If I want to talk with her about something and I know she's busy, before starting to talk, I ask her, I would like to talk to you about something. Do you have 5 minutes? It's just a question. It's not that I must talk and she must listen to me. Okay, is a question can always create a different space, because you can see if now is the moment or not. And maybe it's something really urgent for you, but it's not the same for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there is this space that you can create with the communication that is in a space that includes everybody involved in the communication. Otherwise, it's like watching TV. It's not a communication. it's more being exposed to a speech.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, yeah. So would you like to actually have a conversation, or do you just want to watch TV?
Yeah, and in that case, you are the TV. So maybe you are not so fun.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And and then we've got the whole additional aspect of the different ways that men and women communicate with each other, like men to men, and then men to women, and women to women, and women to men. And how do you navigate all of that with the energy, the languages that we're talking about today, with the energies and then all the other pieces?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another huge question, Betsy.
I know.
Yeah. So I can tell you that when I grew up, I used to spend a lot of time with my girlfriends, and so I was exposed a lot to the way of communicate that the girls they have between themselves. And sometimes I remember when I was teenager, or maybe also later, I was really not really understand men, because I used to see beings talking each other and talking maybe a lot, and all my male friends, they used to don't talk, and to me was was somehow like avoiding something, like I don't want to talk about that dot. Yeah, but I remember that I saw a lot of much more vulnerability in all my female friends when I was growing up, because I used to say that I used to think mainly that since they were talking a lot, they were more vulnerable. And let me say that that's not a necessary thing, that is involved about talking more or expose a lot to yourself. Mm-hmm. So communication between man and woman can be a huge topic, and sometimes still something that is not totally clear. But if you ask a question, and you ask, for example, okay, is that true, or what really would like to receive from this person, or what really this person would like to ask me, you can perceive an energy. And since energy is the first language, you can also see that often people around us are confused. And I know that sometimes I'm confused, and I want to talk about, it's not really clear what I want to say and what I want to ask. So it's not that there is just male or female body that are functioning just in one way. All of us, we are functioning in one or the other way, and we can change as much as it's fun for us, you know. And sometimes there are things that are really clear about how a man is working, about communication. So no is no, and yes is yes. That's about men. You can bet on this one. But if we are starting to talk about ladies, yeah, that can be tricky.
Yeah.
You know, and this is also something that is a lot related to the family, to the society where we grow up, because we are learning things from the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you had a family with not a clear communication or without any communication, yeah, maybe you are miming them, and you can just choose something different, and maybe there is a lot of effort for you to change track, you know? And
so true.
yeah, and I love this conversation because I don't know if you know, but I have a master degree in graphic communication for the public heritage. So communication is something that I studied from a lot of different points of view. Yeah.
You sure have. Wow. No, I did not know that. And
yeah.
It's so funny, and it's so true. Like women. We do so many interesting things, and we have so much subtext, and you know, men are supposed to read between the lines. And if I said one thing, but I actually meant something else, and you know, and men are just so much more, you know, yes is yes, no is no. I'm tired is I'm tired. If I'm quiet, that doesn't mean I'm mad at you. You know, like all of the things. And then women just go to all this other completely different world, which can leave, you know, men perplexed, and even other women, you know, as women try to read the subtext of other women. And, you know, and some people have it a lot, others don't, you know, whether you're a man or a woman. And so you're navigating all of these different things. And you're aware through it all, you know, you're either allowing yourself to be aware, or you're like turning that piece off of the energetics behind all of this. And how do you, as with all of the different things that you do, how do you make sure to stay with that piece, to be aware and not to shut down that what you know energetically that might not be being said?
Yeah, I choose a few years ago to live with Chiara, my girlfriend now, and she already had 3 kids. So with the kids, communication is another level. Again, is something totally different. And a particular thing about the kids is that they don't have an agenda when they are communicating. So they want just to explore. When they express something, it's just because they can that they are expressing. Sometimes they are also asking something in a pragmatic way, but a lot of time they are just exploring the world around them, and they don't give feedback. Yeah, that's another thing about kids. When you are, as a facilitator, for example, when you are contributing them, you are changing something, you are facilitating them, you don't have feedback. But never. I mean, it's not that they don't acknowledge that you are a contribution. It's just that the flow is so speedy that they are already on the next thing. And there is no time to stop to acknowledge, because going to the next thing is already a way to acknowledge. Yeah, so it's totally different with them. And being in the energy, being behind the words, exactly the words that they are saying, is a way to create in a different way, in a family, for example. So I stopped to take the thing personally, first thing. And that created a lot of more ease, because sometimes the words are not congruent with the energy. And if you are following the words, the meaning is maybe something that can be painful for yourself. But it's a choice, again. And since it's a choice, I choose to not take the thing personally and stay in that game and play in that game with them. So with them, there is this energy of playing, and also I can experience new things and can try new things just because I can, as the same for them. And the words that they have a potency that to me is not the same as the energy. What I mean, in a pragmatic way, when I translate, for example, I always have the level of the volume in my mind, in my hand, because sometimes my ears, they need to receive more volume on that, because the voice, the sound of the voice is not so powerful as energy. So it's not so clear, the communication behind. So I need to put the volume higher. And when I translate, I always have this more or less volume to change and to create this ease for my body.
Wow.
Also now is something that for me is a way to have ease, because sometimes it's so clear and the same volume of maybe 2-3 minutes before is too much.
That is fascinating. Wow. All right, our second break, everybody. Stay tuned for more with Danilo and Betsy today. Thank you for listening.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
To Danilo today in Imperfect Brilliance, and I wanted to invite people, if they're looking to get a little more of Danilo, where can they find you?
In Italy?
Good answer.
I think Betsy is not really possible to move a lot around nowadays. And so I'm in Italy so far, and I would like, but yeah, maybe you will find my body also somewhere under the sun, on the beach, somewhere, maybe some island or something like that. And
yes,
I'm
please.
Also, yes, please. I'm also on Facebook. On Instagram, and also I have my website that is www.danilodare.it, and I have a public profile on the website of Access Consciousness, so I'm also there. You can see classes and new things coming up. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And if anybody's looking for more with me, you can find my website at www.creatingyumminess.com, and myself as well as Danilo, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and we're kind of all over the place, so we're easy to find. And we have really gone all over the place, and I know I've asked you some questions that we could really dive into for hours, and we do have a limited time together. And I'm wondering, a couple things I wanted to ask you. One was, you talked about you also do translation. Besides, we've been talking all about language and communication and those kinds of things. When either the participant in the class or the facilitator, as people get excited and they're speaking in their native language, they can talk really fast. And how do you, as a translator, keep up with that? Because you've got to hear what they say and translate that into a different language. And when they're not slowing down, how do you keep up with that?
Yeah, I improved a lot my muscle on that during the last 2 months. And basically, also, if I can speak very fast in Italian, sometimes I need to skip maybe few words because a native English speaker, and I know a lot that I'm translating sometimes, I know a lot of them, they can speak really, really fast because the excitement is so high. So, you cannot, for me, my first point is about not losing the flow. So when I'm translating, maybe I have in my mind the next sentence because the speaker is already on the next one. And because we are talking, let us also this information, we are talking about simultaneous translations. So it's not consecutive translation. So we are translating in the same times without a stop or breaks from the speaker. And so I have sometimes one or two sentences I had in my mind that the speaker already said when I'm translating. And sometimes there are also phrases that are not so linear as translation. And I still be happy because I'm talking Italian, so I'm translating from English to Italian, but there are languages like Japanese, Chinese, Russian, or German also, that they often, they need to wait the end of the phrase to translate because the construction of the sentence is totally different. So for them, the translation is something, again, different than for me. But I really love that. And I choose 1 month ago because this thing about being faster during the translation and also not be tired at the end of the translation, because sometimes we are translating for 8 hours and we are switching each half hour. So it's something that maybe we are talking for 4 hours, something like that. And since I am a man, I don't used to talk a lot. So 1 month ago, I choose to take some lesson from, I hope this is English, but from a logopedist. Let me see. From a logopedist.
From what?
Oh, speech therapist. Yeah. Sometimes I try to take the Italian word and transform it in an English one. It's not this case. So I went. A friend of mine is a speech therapist, so I asked her some help for the speed, and she gave to me some exercise to do with the tongue.
Oh,
and,
cool.
Yeah, and mainly my big contribution has been about breathing, because you need also to breathe sometimes, Betsy?
Yeah, you have to breathe. Yeah, there's that component as well.
yeah, and when you are translating, if the speaker is not breathing, you can also perceive the body of the speaker that needs some fresh air somewhere. So sometimes you maybe need to breathe also to contribute for more ease for everybody. Yeah.
Wow.
And there are a lot of things, and to me is so fascinating translating because it's a way to explore more myself and the possibilities, and also acknowledge new things about myself.
That is really, and these are pieces, not doing it that I wouldn't necessarily think of, but the kudos to you for looking at always how you can make it easier and better, and looking at breathing exercises and reminding yourself to breathe. And what else do you contribute to your body to have ease with working this muscle and learning for it to be easier and easier as you go along?
Yeah, well, another big thing to me is how to sit. So if I don't sit well with my body and the weight is not putting in a well way for my body, I used to be tired a lot. So the thing to me is that when I translate, normally I translate now sit at home on my chair. So I need to really to be in a place that my body is not starting to sleep, is not that kind of comfortable that I'm looking for. Is a place that my body is straight and I can keep and be awake for hours. And I have all the space to breathe without effort, but with total ease. And I can breathe and breathe for everybody also, because sometimes you need to breathe a lot.
Wow. Well, and that was part of the other question you answered I had was, like, how do you keep your energy up? How do you keep with the flow? And so can you get up, like when, I know it's different when you're in a classroom environment. You hear, like you're right now, you're doing a lot of translating at home. So you're in front of a computer. So are you able to get up and move around, or do you have to kind of stay stationary for the best sound effects as well as just for your configuration?
When I'm translating, I don't move, so I'm sitting here in front of the monitor. Also, because having the speaker in front of me is a way to create ease, because you can see all the expressions and everything that is going on. So you can have more ease about the situation of the speaker. And another thing is that sometimes you need, of course, to have some breaks and maybe go to the toilet or eating something like that. And the main thing about doing a lot of hours in that way to me, and this is something that I learned from an Italian translator when I was starting to translate. She told to me this thing: when you start to translate, and also before the starting of the class, you can start to pull energy from the speaker. And if you pull energy from the speaker, you can have ease during all the translation. So to me, this is something that I started to do, and I keep doing a lot, also during the class. If I'm a little bit tired, I just pull energy, also from the participants in my language, but also from all the participants of the class. And in the end of the class, often have so much energy that I cannot go sleep. Also, if it's 1 a.m. or something like that. So maybe I need 2 more hours before my body is ready to sleep.
Oh. So anybody listening who might not know what you mean when you say pull energy, could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, this is something that the first time I heard about that was something like, it's so strange. What do you mean about that? Yeah. And I found out that is something so pragmatic. So basically, I just ask the energy from the body of the speaker. It can be in the same room or anywhere on the planet. I can just ask the energy to flow from her body to my body and outside my body. It's just a request. There is no a way to do it, and there is no way to do it right or wrong. I just ask the energy to flow in this way. Yeah, and this is something that allows me to have a communication, a communion with the speaker, and the flow is faster. Sometimes there are speakers like Dr. Dane here, that is the co-founder of Access Consciousness, that they are talking, and I am translating also almost on the same time what they are speaking. Because the flow of the energy is so powerful and easy. So this thing about pulling is really a game changer. You can have a lot of ease in your life, pulling energy.
I love that. And it's such a great example, right? So when you're connecting in with whomever, we're talking a lot today about from the translation piece, but you can have that connection with anyone. And when you do feel like you're in sync with somebody else, it does make everything easier. And, so bringing in that component of connecting energetically and flowing energy to people, and where you've created this connection between the two of you. Thank you so much for bringing that into the conversation today, so showing how that makes it easier.
Yeah, totally. And I love to do that a lot. Sorry, Betsy. Also with my cats. With my cats, because I would love to spend hours with my cat, but sometimes I can't. And so this thing about pulling energy and also flowing energy to them, the opposite direction, is something that is creating a great, great relationship with them.
So you can do it not only with people, but with animals. And it really does, and connecting, whether you're in the same room or not, you can have that energetic connection with people, with animals. And for all of us, what I was going to say is, we all just desire to feel that connection. So play with that, you guys. Danilo, thank you for being with us today and this great conversation. So grateful.
Thank you, Betsy.
All righty. Take care, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao.